Hey, what's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning, my neighbors. Welcome to another session of Before You Take the Trade Analysis. I know I ran a little behind. I'm supposed to start at 7, but either way, we're still going to go ahead and get these trade analysis done. If you have not liked, subscribe, or hit my bell button over on my YouTube, take the moment right now and just go ahead and check it out. It's down there in the link down below. Also, I have my Instagram and my Twitter down below as well. Also, if you are trading by yourself and you feel like you're trading by yourself and you have no community to trade with, by all means, come with us. We're over here at Cheat Code and we have a lot of fun learning how to trade and making money at the same time. All right. So don't forget to hit that rocket boost button so that way they can let them know that Trading View, hey, that boy JD, he's the one that drops a lot of information, a lot of gems, and we're going to go ahead and get into the chart. So please hit that boost button so that way the algorithm gives me those calculations. All right. So let's go to it. Wow. That's the only word I could come up with is wow. Um, the market is predictably unpredictable. Right? It's almost like the market will show you something in their hand and then out of nowhere they'll just go ahead and take it back. Yesterday I was looking at this, I was like, oh man, there's no way we're gonna break across 17,000. And then when we got across 17,000 on NQ, I said, there's no way we're going to hold above 17,000. There we hold above 17,000. And I said, something just don't smell right. So now I'm looking at this and it looks like it's starting to pull back. And that's where the predictability kind of kicks in, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get into the charts. If we look at, actually, you know what? Let me take a complete step back. I am not gonna lie, I almost want to reset all my lines, but you know what? Let me make sure. Yeah, I do have some annotations here. I'm getting rid of everything. Everything's gonna go. We're getting it all out the way. We're gonna go from every single step. What I want to do with this exercise is almost, I'm gonna show you how I kind of prepare for the market, and this is how I'm looking at things so that way I can know how I'm going to attack the market and see where I'm going to make my money at. And I'm going to give you some of my fundamentals itself. And this is going to be really, really key because if you don't know where you're going, then how are you going to get to a destination? If you don't know what your goal is, if you don't know what your targets is, how do you know whether to enter or exit? That's when you get those hesitations. So I'm going to show you a couple of things on how I operate here. All right. So let's start with the beginning, right? This is the 4-hour chart. A lot of things is being dictated here on the 4-hour chart. A couple of things is we're in an uptrend, right? We can all agree that this uptrend is solid, right? About here, boom, right? We got real close to that line. But if we think about this, we are spending a lot of energy staying away from the uptrend that started all the way in late October. This is the monster. This is where everything in the market has happened. Where we had our 3 to 4 weeks of bull run before we got into December. This is where we kind of pushed a little bit further as it kept on going. This is where, like, these are the areas in itself where the market has made some major impacts in the direction to the upside. So you take a nice little line, look at the trend, and it'll tell you a little bit about the story. So once upon a time, there's an NQ that was making its way all the way uptown, but then it realized it forgot something. So what did it do? It worked its way until it got all the way back to its trend line, found some new friends, and when they picked up these new friends, they went ahead and started partying again. So that's what I'm kind of seeing here. So, I don't know, you may want to rephrase your story along the way. That's okay. But at the end of the day, you got to understand what is the market telling you. So what is it telling me now? So we kind of did one leg here, retrace, and we're making a second leg here. It doesn't look like this second leg is going to make a real impactful move here. And it's almost like, let me zoom in, that we're starting what could be, and we've talked about this numerous times, this could be a potential downtrend line like this. I'm going to have to probably extend this out. Something along the lines of this. So this could be our angle that we're looking where the market can come down, put some pressure, probably be at the level of 16,680, somewhere in the middle of the new year. This is where I'm thinking a lot of profit taking needs to come into place, because we've rallied so much when it's all said and done that being this far and not showing any really true retracement, which will allow a lot of supporters to kind of step in, it makes the trend a little unhealthy. So right now, looking at this 4 hour, the way we kind of drop, we are going to get some push right now, because this candle closed at 6 a.m. So we're going to get a push. We got ourselves a nice little base that happened right here at the level of 16,964. And if, like I said, we do trading. This morning was my nighttime trading. So we started trading at 2 a.m. We took a lot of this downward trend to the downside around 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. So if you don't have a community, again, like I said, hit me on a DM, send me a message, or click the link down below for cheat code, and you could come trade with us. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to this. And you could see we got to at least see where the bears are and where the bulls are. I am anticipating that there's a possibility in this 1 4 hour candle that we're going to try to figure out if we can retrace to probably the 618. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see a nice healthy pullback to the 618. That will just bring us to about 17,012. And I'm going to put another line only because of psychological levels, because the market tends to repeat itself. We had a hard time at 17,000. The whole entire market's eyeballs was right there. I'm looking at a possible rejection at 17,000 as well. Good morning, Casey. What's going on? How you doing? So I'm looking at, there is a potential that we could get all the way up into here, then reject as we continue this 4 hour until it resets itself and comes right back into that oversold territory, right? So last one I'm going to put is, where would I go if I see any more downside? This one right here is probably going to be a real key level that I would target if I want to play this to the downside. Now, listen, all these lines that you see on my chart, there's only 3 lines with a nice downtrend line. I am not saying that this is where it's going to go. I am looking at the possibility and looking for the highest probability of setups. That way I can go ahead and make good money. Okay, so that is the purpose of these lines. All right, so now that I'm seeing this, I'm also looking at this order block. If it breaks through here, take care of this imbalance and comes down to here, this is the area I'm thinking is going to be the final bounce. But overall, I am looking for this thing to kind of retrace a little bit, because we made a massive move. This was like about 59 points to the downside, and we're probably going to retrace a little bit to go ahead and give a monster move to the downside. That is my opinion on that, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next ticker, kind of give you the same ideology here. All right, so here's oil. Let me get okay, I thought I got rid of my annotations. All right, so I got my November annotations. I do not want to get rid of those bad boys. All right, boom. And actually, look, this is a little bit of cry of help. Trading view. If I put a nice little lock right here, I should be able to remove all drawings and not lose my locks. Just please, if you could actually find a way to let the lock not remove all drawings, you'll be my best friend. I promise. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into the chart. $75 is where I was looking for oil to reject. It did that. I was a little mad on this one because on the around 2 a.m. I felt like this was consolidation breakout, and it broke out. This was a good solid 78 ticks to the upside. Great trade, and it just continued until it got to 75 and it hit its head. Again, bumping its head against the wall, looking like it's going to go ahead and just reject from there, and that's exactly what it did. Psychological reasons, 200 EMA right here, and plus there is a bearish order block here. So these are the couple things that's there. So what do I see? A nice solid uptrend, right? We got ourselves a couple touches here, and this is the angle of that uptrend. It is shallow, right? So I'm not too worried about it ever breaking too much, but what I do want to see is how it responds to the 50 EMA. If this 50 EMA gets across this order block before price action gets back and tested, I think oil is going to make a monster move to the upside. I don't want to even get started at certain divergences that's showing here, but at the end of the day, oil is trying to make a move to the upside. Does it get back above and start going into $78? I would rather not see that, but for the most part, the chart is what we take, and we got to go with it. What would I take? If this thing starts to fall, I would probably target to this level here. No, don't. I want yellow. Let's get yellow. Probably target this area. Right now, 75 is where I will be bearish, but we're already there. So if I was to see another rejection point, it'd probably be right at the 200 EMA, which the 200 EMA, that means you're talking about 200 candles on the 4-hour chart that we are on the bottom of. The 50 EMA is below it. So all of this is telling me that we are generally bearish on CL when it's all said and done. So just make sure you have yourself some sound entries before you just start diving into CL. All right. Let's go ahead and keep it going. So those were my key ones that I wanted to like show you my levels on, and we'll see how that goes. Gold, it is again, like I said, we was getting above that 2050. I didn't think it was going to get this far, so this was a nice little move to the upside yesterday. If anyone took this, please shoot me a DM, because we kind of talked about this, that it was going to go ahead and push up. This was a nice move up. Let me do this right for those that are sitting in the back of the classroom and like, wait, what is he talking about? It barely moved. The way gold works, it needed a retracement, especially when it broke above my bullish line. Right now, I'm back to bearish because it didn't hold. Any one of these could have been a nice little upside. So here's a pullback. If you saw the weakness here, you could have took this run up. That's 100 ticks. 100 times $10. That's $1,000 right there. This one right here saw weakness. This one was about 20. That's 210 just on that alone. Over here, there was a little bit of rebounds and got back above my level. Same level I gave y'all yesterday. And that was 51 ticks before I pulled all the way back. And then this last one here did this. So that about 37 ticks. So if you traded on the 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock when we opened again, or even at 10 o'clock, you had some really, really good opportunities to go ahead and attack gold and make some money. Now, all these opportunities, and it didn't really break this level, this 4-hour level. This kind of told me that they were having a hard time staying above this previous thing that actually got us up here. So a lot of these people that was here supporting it probably exited. They were like, damn, I still can't get up here. All right, let me just take something off. Oh, let me take. Oh, it hit my stop. Oh, with it. This is the psychology. This is the psychology of a lot of people as far as traders when they're dealing with the market and in society. And also, just a little recap. This is my workshops. I break down all of this, how to find your identity as a trader. And this one that's coming up is going to really break down the 3 sides of the market. You as an individual trader, the other side, the person against you, and the market as a whole, so that way you can be in sync and be in tune with your trading. All right, so that was a nice little plug over there. I will put the link for my workshops in the chat. I do suggest that you at least sign up for the bulls, bears, and brains. All right, so go ahead and click the link, order your workshop, and I'll see you there. So now with gold doing what it's doing, and it looks like it's trying to push to the downside, they can have it at this point, because a lot of this is probably going to end up getting filled because the imbalance we got right below it with this candle at 2 a.m. closing at 6 a.m. So I'm back to being bearish and probably going to play this until it gets to the 50 EMA, which is roughly around here. All right, so that is gold. Let's go into silver. I did put silver on here because the community was kind of talking about it, but I might switch it back to ES now. But you can kind of see silver tried to break above. This was your order block. It was holding there. You look left. Why was it holding there? Well, once upon a time, there's a silver. It stayed above the range of, let me put that, 24.30 and 24.35. And then when it actually found out that it loves its support there, it went ahead and retested it back in November 26th. And when it did that, it made a nice little dance all the way to the top until it couldn't dance no more. And right here is where it topped out. 263 ticks. But when it got up here, it put this nice little evening star showing strong rejection, which was Sunday. Everybody knows about that Sunday. All the commodities was going crazy, and I went ahead and got myself another funded account. If you want to know about getting funded as a funded futures broker, or sorry, futures trader, go ahead and hit me on a DM. I will show you everything that I know. All right, and then and as soon as it went ahead and hit that evening star, it went wee all the way back home to its original trend, and then some until it tried again to go ahead and reach. Can it reach back to the stars? We'll never know, because right now it's getting rejected over here and probably going to take out this imbalance. This is how I kind of like train myself to kind of see what I'm looking for. You don't have to do it in a story. Maybe you have to just write it down, what you're expecting, what are the probabilities, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we're on top of a bullish order block. This block was trying to become one, couldn't, and they are rejecting it, and now they're going to go ahead and give it one more retest. With the Stoke pointing this way, I don't think a lot of supporters are going to be attracted to do that, so this one may come down to the 50 EMA, just like gold, over to 24.11. All right, let's go ahead and keep it moving. British pound. All right, British pound has been a little detached from the market. It's been annoying. It's been, to be honest, pissing me off, because at the end of the day, with the British pound showing that it was coming down yesterday, it kind of took its sweet time to do so. It was really separated from NQ, and it was driving me nuts. And I was like, okay, this is what it is, this, that, third. I still made money, but it was just not smooth. I didn't make the impact that I thought I was going to make. So I kind of pulled back on NQ because of the British pound. I should have played oil. But the British pound, the way everything is working out right now, we are dropping. We got a sell signal. It is going through, trying a second time, and it's happening too fast. When you want a retest of an order block, you want some type of, consolidation, new supporters, maybe something like this, and then it goes all the way back in here, rejects, and then kind of like, I don't want to go back to the order block, come back here, and then it'll just take off and push to this level, right? You want something along the lines of this. But when you have, oh my God, this is a bullish order block, beam, reject, beam, that is happening way too fast, way too quick, and plus we didn't make a higher high with this, so I don't think there's a lot of supporters that's waiting for this British pound to continue to the upside. So I am looking for continuation and probably this target or this target to be tested. So we look at 1.2635 or 1.2616, and that will bring us kind of similar to what I was saying with this whole entire order block here. Look, using a wick as one, that there was going to be some orders and spring us back up. But with the 50 EMA being on the order block, we may blast through the 50 EMA, which will not be a good sign for anything bullish, and destroys this order block. So I'm looking for British pound to come down. All right, let's go to natural gas. Natural gas, again, still upset at myself, but it's okay. Missed on this deviation. I'm gonna wait for the consolidation to happen. I am looking for natural gas to go ahead and retrace to this downward trend line. Let me come to the daily to kind of point this out. This is just basically a nice little downtrend angles that was built on how fast, how far we kept on pushing down. Now that we're here, I would love to see where it found support. Could it be that they're going to find support at this wick and start to make its way all the way back up to this level, then reject? Maybe. Or they could just consolidate over until it gets to here in the mid-January, and then come back and test the backside of this line with an aggressive drop to the downside. At least this is what this daily is showing me, and this is what the weekly is showing me for the most part. I am leaning on consolidation. All right, so that is my thought. Ooh, look at that. For all my cheaters out there, what does that double doji say? Go ahead and put in the chat when y'all get a chance if you're watching this video at a later time. All right, double dojis. All right, let's go ahead and keep this party going. 4-hour boom. Let's go to the Russells. The Russell is leading the way as usual. I love the Russell for what it does. I use it more like an indicator. I don't trade it. We're sitting on top of a bullish order block, but I think it's going to get tested even though we made higher highs. You remember what I said about divergences like 2 seconds ago? Let me show y'all what I see. Here's our level. Barely a straight line. Let me click on this. See, negative 35 in the angle. So that means this is actually lower than where this is right here when it was pinned. So that means we are making a lower high, right? But what is happening over at the Russell and price action? Well, like I said, it is relatively shallow. The sharper they are, the more obvious it is, the more it plays out. But I'm thinking that this is going to play out. So we're getting higher highs, but this is making lower highs over here. So if you ever get something like that, then you got yourself what we call the alligator mouth coming for your profits. This means a downward trend may be ensuing. So looking at the Russells and the small caps, I am thinking that this is going to be the shot over the bow that we are going to be bringing the Russell down, and it's going to be the first shoe to drop before NQ and ES start to fall, which goes in tune with my Santa rally is going to start tapering off. So just keep that one in mind. All right. And then we got ourselves the infamous, the undisputed champ, the dollar. And like I said, the way the dollar was looking, nice little push up here, push up here, push up here. We couldn't make lower lows. We're making lower highs, but we're not making lower lows. I was very concerned with all this upward action with the market. It really did look like we were starting to top it off and are done with that side. And you can kind of see we got ourselves a little bit of an upward action where the stochastic is pointing straight up with some umph. And if if the dollar goes up, the market tends to suffer because everybody takes their money out and they sit it in relative cash. All right. So I'm looking at this as a bearish order block that, again, just the same way as the British pound was. We came here. This is where the order block was sitting, came back down, and now we're already testing it. We didn't wait this long. We didn't consolidate for it, nothing. So I think we're back here way too quick for this to be just a retest to fall right back down. I did want to see them break this upward trend because I built this on the daily, and this is the trend line that started all the way back here. Now, it's a potential downtrend. I'm sorry, potential uptrend, not an official uptrend. So looking at this, it looks like the market is saying, no, 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 we're not doing it. It is what it is. All right. So look for the dollar to pick up some strength. The market's starting to fall. And I'm not saying get your puts ready, but just keep an eye on that. All right. So let me go ahead and grab my other chart. Where are you? I think this is you. All right. This is where I get everybody's opinion as far as tickers. If you have any tickers that you want to go ahead and put, Casey already gave me a plethora, and today is my Wednesday where I usually have much more free time. So I'm going to pour back into y'all over here in BYTTT, and we're going to go ahead and really look at some of these potential trades that Casey got for us. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through this whole list. I might skip around because I know there's some I've already done, like Elf. I think I already did for you, and I think that's only one. Yeah, you can put me to work over there, Casey. I got you though. I got you. We're gonna go ahead and dig in as deep as we can. All right, so let's start with what Casey suggested. MATX. I don't know this one. MATX. Really? Oh, Matson. Am I saying that right? Matson. If you don't know how Casey operates, he loves his small caps, so he just makes sure that he puts his small caps into the charts, and has low float, so that way he could kind of really push. So that way he go ahead and make some massive moves, which it's a good strategy. I like it because a lot of people tend to run to their Apples and their Nvidias and their Googles and all that because they know it's popular, it's going to have a lot of volume. But small caps have some value when it's all said and done, because when their price movement happens, it usually makes some massive moves, and because there is only a small cap, it tends to go in motion for a long time. So I love how he kind of picks his stocks. This one right here, it looks like they broke through a psychological level of $100. Let me go ahead and put a line right here, kind of point this out for y'all. Boom, and they make it 100 even. Right, and you could kind of see, if we just squeeze this chart all the way over, what does this $100 level represent? Well, we got over here Nice little rejection here, broke through, used that support, continued. They didn't want to let it fall, and when it broke through here, it had a hard time getting back ever since April of 2022. What do? They do marine shipping. They pay dividends, but I don't like the marine shipping sometimes. Oh, wow. Nice EPS here. 32-cent dividend. Not too bad. Not too bad. I've seen worse. 17% there. They surprised 24. Yeah, they're making money over there. Oh, that's interesting. They paid dividends before earnings. This must be a supplemental one. This one they missed dividends. I'm sorry, missed earnings, but not by much. The revenue seems to be slipping though. That's the only thing that's a little bit of a concern. And you got this nice little spacing gap right here and here. So I would say for the most part, that's the only thing I'm concerned about it on Casey. Um, you're saying the entry at 108.68. That one I can agree on 108.68. That means you got yourself a solid retest of the TP1 because we're at 106.99 or 107. Um, Stop loss at 101 or 102. 101.99 or 102. Okay, all right. I would say 102.59, but I know you're trying to give yourself some room based on the rest of this gap. I'll agree with that one as well. And your target is 120.16. All right, so 120.16. I would say if it's getting some momentum, you can get that 124 that is over here at TP4. But of course, maybe take your first bit or bite of your options out and start getting out of the trade right at that level around 10, basically the psychological level of 120, right? Take your money there and then let the runners collect the rest to 124. That will be the most sound situation for you. All right. Let's go to GWRE. All right. The cheat code algo really tries to hone in, make things make sense or more sensible for you. So if you haven't got the cheat code algo, go ahead, DM me. I'll get you a copy of that. But GWRE, Guidewire Software, it looks like it's an information company. Tech has been running. All right. I'm not saying that this thing is going to come down, but tech has been running, especially with NQ, especially after November. A lot of this is running. So going long, we got to take the charts that's in front of us. And it is at my entry level. You have an entry at 105.49. Pre-market, they already got in there. So I would say just go ahead and jump in. 94.49 is a stop. I got 95, and then you have 126 as your take profit. I do agree up to 129. Now, this one is probably a really, really good one for you, Casey. I did put this on my list the last time, and I was a little apprehensive because it started showing a sell. But with this three push right here, I may come in there with you. I like what I'm seeing. Depending on how I want to deal with the pullback when the market opens, I may get in there with a stop loss probably around that 94 with you, or I might just follow the cheat code algo. It says 95.02, but sometimes I do follow the buy signal. If I'm going to be in a trade and this is the buy signal, I want to see this buy signal as my support and treat that as a trailing stop. What does that mean, JD? What are you talking about? Well, if I go ahead and rewind back to here, right, you'll see that, boom, boom, boom. Let's let it catch up, right? You'll see when we triggered this buy signal, this happened, right? So now I want an entry right above this level. Remember, price closed below here. I use hollows for that reason. All right, now price closed right here. So I would be looking for something that looks like this, right? And then my TP would be somewhere in the middle of that. And let's go ahead and hit play, right? So with me seeing that my buy signal is starting to trigger, just to minimize the loss, depending on how I'm reading stochastic or looking at higher time frame, I may consider, using this area as my stop loss and just trail it like this. Now, that is aggressive. I'm making sure I stop myself with profit. And being that I'm already in profit like this, I'm probably going to use that guideline as my stop as well, right? So this is kind of like my buy signal, letting me know that if it triggered a sell here, why am I still in a trade? Because if price action closes below that level, that's a problem for your trade, especially if you're dealing with option contract. So continuing on, you could see that it continued. Nice little flat line here. So where would my trailing stop sit? Roughly right where that flat line is sitting. And then we just continue on. Does it hit my TP? Hold on. Let's go in that. All right. It came and I probably would have got stopped out here. What happened? Well, this candle triggered that sell. That is what I saw when Casey brought this to me. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I was considering taking this up, and it just didn't do what I expected. Now, it did use my stop loss as a nice little support, and that's what triggered our most recent buy, right? But now that we got our entry, which is on the next candle here, that's why I really like this trade, because we closed above, nice entry. If I saw this yesterday, I probably would have entered yesterday at that 105. But unfortunately, we got to take the chart that's presented in front of us. This looked like a really good trade, so I'm going to check that out with you. All right, Casey. All right, Expedia. All right, so Expedia, good travel company. I've played this before, especially after earnings. I like how it moves. It tends to move when it moves, right? Actually, damn, I haven't done this in months. The last time I played it, I want to say I played it back in 2022. I think that's when I did that. I haven't played it since. But this one right here, right after earnings, they had a nice little push up. I guess they had solid surprise. Not much, but still, they are a $4 billion company. They bring in some revenue. So they must have really guided well. Let me see what they did here. 165 estimate. And they're anticipating probably the holiday season. This probably was one of those where, Thanksgiving is going to be in place, Christmas is going to be in place, everybody's going to fly, everybody's going to get hotels, everybody's going to get rentals, and that is what Expedia does. Again, like I said, small caps. We love our small caps when it comes down to KC trades. He has a entry at 152.44, stop loss at 139. 152. I would say a break above 153.50 with some strength and a close above that line. I probably feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Let's see, stop loss at 130. I love your stop loss. This will bring it back to TP1 and break below. You don't want to see that. I'm just afraid that you're going to hit resistance as people start to take profit at 153. So I would say maybe a red candle somewhere in here that ends up showing a higher low. Probably a good entry when it closes, and then just continue up. Take profit. What do you have as a take profit? 174. 194 could be the target. I do like 194. So let's see if it could get that high. And I am going to red list this one too and see and keep track of this one as well. Let's see what time it is. It's at 7:54. I probably could do 3 more, Casey. Let's knock out 3 more. I know you gave me 9. I'll see how much. Maybe I'll do like a blitz for the last 3. We'll see. All right. Let's see. And again, if you have any tickets that you want to share, go ahead and put it inside of the chat. This is how we put it against the cheat code. I'll go and see how accurate it is, and let's have some fun. Let's go to CYBR, CyberArk software, package software, 40 million on float. So what are you expecting here, Casey? Let me get rid of this watch list, get it out your way. Okay, this is a little bit far removed. This is not in the greatest of position. Maybe a little toppy. You got to enter your 215. Okay, I get the 215 psychological level, break above, hold below, and that would be great. 203 for a stop. I would stop it further than that. I know what you're suggesting. Maybe a nice little, almost like a retracement into the order block by boxing all of this out and thinking that this is your support here. Yes, I like that, but sometimes I do this. Right? I think that this candle itself is an indication that the market wants to stay above the candle itself. So sometimes I will put a fib on this candle itself, and if there's any time that it gets below, so I'm looking at probably 204 of a stop loss. you have 203. So we're not too far apart, but just because it's so far removed and I want to be cautious, I want this order block to have no more than a 50% retracement into it if it's going to be my support. Now, what I'm liking is that this is a pointing straight up. Whenever you get a point straight up on the cheat code algo, you see how what happened here? Yeah, there was some weakness, but it stayed pointing straight up. This is like your guideline, right? So I'm liking what it looks like. I think your entry will be sound, but I would like a better stop loss at 204. 236 is your target. I think 236 is attainable as long as it keeps on knocking out these TPs. We're currently about to knock our head or bumping our head at to TP3 around the psychological level of 220. So maybe take your first exit and start scaling down around that level, and then you start taking some of your money off the risk. All right. I want. I'll come back to Elf because we already did Elf. Let's do Kaba. All right. Cabaletta Bio. All right. So this is a biopharmaceutical company. Oh, you gave us a cheap one. Okay, cool, cool, cool. 34 on float. So this one, for those that doesn't want to spend $200 on something like Expedia or anything like that, I get it, right? This could be a nice little trade here. Kaba, you have an entry at 22.56. 22.56 will bring us. Okay, I kind of see where you're going with that. It just shows you that you're going to hold this 21.90 level and continue to that upside. What else? You got a stop loss at $16.13. Hold on for a second. Sorry, I had to check on the little ones real quick. All right, so I'm looking at 2250. I think it's a sound one because it's going to hold that level at TP1. Then we're probably going to bump our head at TP3 at 2380, and then it's probably going to go ahead and try to retrace, making sure that it's really going to hold that as people start to take profit. Now the problem I do have is your stop loss. You have $16. That is too deep. I will go with 1813 at the very most. Even though the stop loss for $14 is down here for the cheat code algo, the reason why I'm a little wrapped up on that is because we're already above the entry level. We're already above TP1. You wanted to not even go back to entry, even though you could find some supporters there. I'm looking at the level, and I get it. You're going for the 2-to-1 ratio. Uh, this was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. This is a tough one. I want to stop you out at $19 psychological 20. That's where I really want to say. But if you want to go with something a little aggressive, stop at 1813. I don't suggest you going all the way to $16. I don't think you need to risk that much. But if it does what you expect, it should get to $34, actually $30 at TP4, and you can start scaling yourself out. I would scale out at 25.69, of course, but if you wanted to be aggressive, that should be your first scale out before you go to that 34. There's a strong possibility, being that it's TP4, it should be very, very toppy. All right. Before we go into speed round, let's go ahead and get into BAM. BAM. Don't know this one. This one's gonna be a little bit of a surprise. I feel like we talked about it before. Sounds familiar. I won't be surprised you've played this before. Ooh, wow. Talking about a run. You talk, and I know y'all probably looking at me like, wait, what is he talking about the run? Listen, whenever you see a buy signal that never has a flat line, that's called a run, and it's on a daily. That's a run, right? So we got a buy signal right here. This thing continued, kind of retrace. Guess they gave it a little surprise on earnings, lost money in revenue, but they still found a way to manage their company and still give a solid EPS. Dividends paid out at 32 cents, and people stated, you know what? This sounds so familiar. I think we talked about this, Casey. I won't be surprised if you go through your journal. You probably see that we did talk about these levels, and I think we talked about it as it was going to dividends. Um, Nice solid move, nice solid uptrend. This thing is very toppy though. That's the only thing as far as that, Casey. 39.39. I would say just go for the psychological entry of $40. Being that we're at TP4, I know if I go to the weekly, I'll probably find some other levels. But looking at the daily, we're toppy. We did not break above 39 with real strength. It looks like they're using that as resistance. Let me look left. Yeah, we're at all-time highs. So yeah, I would say for the most part, maybe just go for the 40, anything above 40 before you really take it that serious. Because this thing could easily come back inside of the gap. Your stop loss is 35.41. Are you trying to take some of that imbalance and then some? That's a little deep. That's a little deep, but I get it. You're probably looking for like a 382, maybe even a 50% retracement somewhere around. Um, Not necessary. Not necessary. Let somebody else hold the bag. Let somebody else hold it. And then you got to take profit of $46. Now that I might have to go to the weekly to see. This is what I was trying to say. Good entry on a weekly would have been here, right when we closed, or when this doji happened, roughly about December, early December, right? But since we closed or we're closing above TP1, I want to see this hold 40, right? You can get away with what you said with the 39.39 because of the weekly, but oof, that stop loss. You would probably go with an entry level on a weekly. So you might have to get something really, really distant as far as your option contract. That way you have a lot of time, or maybe just do the shares. Because what can happen, it could come down to 33.57, trigger a sell, continue down as people take profits and have a shallow low or high. That's very possible. But with the fact that it broke the level and you're at all-time highs, I want to see this thing continue making those all-time highs, stay on 40, and then find some type of support around there, not to go past this change of character right here. That's just how I'm kind of seeing it. All right. Okay. It's 8:03. So let's just go ahead and do the speed round right now. Let's see how that's going. All right. Elf. So we already talked about Elf before. Elf Beauty. I love beauty and Ulta Beauty. Those things make money because women are always buying makeup, and it seems like every day there's a new colored or blush line or eyeliner or something. Shout out to my wife, right? Anyways, this one he has an entry on Elf at 153.96. 153.96 will bring us uh, better than where we are. Pre-market's already pulling back, which was kind of what I was saying. It might be a little toppy. Let's get my daily. Right, so it's a little toppy heading to TP4. So this one is probably going to be a little rough with a target of 166, very attainable, but I don't like the 145 stop loss at this point. I want to see this thing not really mess with that gap. So I would say 147, at very least 147.50. Sorry, 146.50. All right, so that is Elf Beauty. GE, General Electric. Okay, I haven't seen them in a long time since they split. Um, they're going for dividends. They are going for dividends. I don't like this going into dividends. Might be a bad ticker for dividends. I think that was supplemental. This one kind of rallied after dividends. I don't like General Electric or dividends. I really don't. Nice little pop up. Nice little point up on the signal here. This was your entry at 113. That would have been a better spot, but unfortunately, we can't cry over spilled milk. We're going to have to just look at the market for what it is. Entry level at 126. Like it. That should hold above TP1, but right now it's down pre-market. Stop loss 123. I love the stop loss at 123. I would say 123.27 more than the 123.03, and then take profit 131. I would say TP2 is at 132. If you want to scale out to be a little conservative, that's not a problem. But to be aggressive, I would take my first set of stop loss my first set of shares or options at 132.07 and let the runners get to 138. I think 138 is potentially possible if the dividends holds. They barely pay anything for dividends. I could see the dividends holding and then continue to that upside. All right. Last one, IR. Yeah. IR. Ingersoll Rand. Okay. What do you do? They are in industrial machinery with 404 million shares floated. They just broke above the TP, so let's look at yours. So long entry is 76.72. Love it. That should continue because at the end of the day, they can retrace here, but at the end of the day, do not go too far. With a stop loss of 73.81, I'm leaning on 74.50, $74 before the 73.81. And then your take profit will bring you to 81.36. I think this will be an $82 stock. Let's see, weekly, it is on a tear, all-time highs, and then some. Yeah, I would say $82 would be the target. I like this one. Actually, you're going red list. All right. On that note, thank you very much. I appreciate every one of y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. If you do not have the cheat code algo, by all means, just hit me on the DM. I'll get you the link over and you can make your purchase. I think it's very, very useful and helps you plan your trades out with a built-in trading plan. Also, if you have not liked, subscribe, and hit the bell button in my YouTube channel, I am asking you to do so now. I finally crossed over to 100 subscriber. I'm looking to get to 1,000, and people like you that loves my information actually helps me get there. Absolutely, Casey, I appreciate you as well. No problem. All right. And also, you don't have a community, click the link, come over to the cheat code. We have fun, right? We make money. I teach a futures trading floor. We have fun there. Today, I'm not opening that floor because we already did our early morning, but I am doing a contest. If you want to go ahead and join up, it's called What Would You Do Wednesday. We're going to meet up around 3:30, or a little close to when the market starts to close. It's basically what would you do in the middle of your trades. So that one's going to be fun. Also, follow my Instagram. Follow my X. Sometimes I drop little trade ideas in those just in case I don't have time to get on for BYTTT. But generally, I try to be on here 7 a.m. to 7:15 at the very least. I know I was late. That's why we spilled over a little bit. But at the end of the day, Tuesday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 7:15, give you the trade analysis so that way you can make some sound trades and make some money in the market. Till we meet again, see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. and have a great morning, my neighbors.